Robot Dreams is out in theaters, new animated feature from Pablo Berger. It's an experimental film, you could say, because the entire story is told without a single line of dialogue. The characters make sounds and gestures and facial expressions, but there are no actual words being spoken aloud in the film, which I think makes it very interesting because theoretically it doesn't require any translation or localization. It should be perfectly understood by anyone in the world, regardless of their language or age, at least if it's executed properly, which I'm happy to say it is. The story takes place in New York, which is inhabited by various anthropomorphic animal characters. Think BoJack Horseman. There are human horses and human rabbits and human ducks, and the main character is a human dog. He lives alone in an apartment, leads a boring, unfulfilling, solitary life. One day he sees a commercial for a companion robot. He orders one, builds it, and together they begin building their friendship. But one day an unexpected thing happens which puts a question mark on the relationship and makes it unsure whether, where each of them is even going to end up, whether they can sort of be reunited without spoiling too much. So, like I said, probably the most impressive thing about the film is how well it communicates its story without words, especially as it is a full, fleshed out, rich storyline. Definitely not a short film or a vignette. The runtime is 1 hour 40 minutes, and yet you never feel like something is not understood, or that the film is meandering and stretched out and doesn't know where to go. I think it does an impressive job of juggling its emotions. At times it's cheerful, at times tragic and melancholic, at times uplifting and optimistic, and it manages to convey a really mature message about the nature of friendships and the sort of transient nature of these types of relationships, and how they can change and evolve and maybe even erode over time, and how eventually you may have to learn to move on from one to the next. I struggle to think of another movie, especially an animated one, which would have a similar message to this one. And I think in the end it would be kind of difficult to. It's a message that would be kind of difficult to explain directly to a child. The concept that is touched on in the final act of the film, but the movie remarkably uses its medium to convey that, I think, perfectly. And it managed to surprise me with not going for an easy, expected type of resolution to the story, but rather a well-earned, bittersweet ending. An ending which, by the way, uses to perfection two running motifs established throughout the film: a recurring song and the concept of the robot dreaming about various things and scenarios. And so when the movie pulls the rug on you in the ending, with both these elements used to phenomenal effect, it feels very cathartic in a way. I also really appreciate the fact that it's done in traditional 2D animated style. I think it looks great, and there's less and less movies like these nowadays, so it's good to see some of them still being made. And I like the sort of background running gags of various animals behaving in ways appropriate for their species, which again is something BoJack Horseman did excellently as well. I loved it. I think it's a great film that both adults and children should enjoy, and it manages to teach an important lesson about friendships in a way that feels neither forced nor artificial. Check it out if you get a chance.